What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Locked In Pards Retro Gaming with me, one of your hosts, Devin, here with my boy Dan.
Yo!
And we'll be talking some gaming news and then our Resident Evil 2 remake discussion. But Dan, first, how you been?
Peachy, everything's going well. Work, gaming, life, and everything in between. A healthy balance, I'm sure.
That's good. It has not been a healthy balance for me.
Go on.
I've been working ungodly hours. It's been like close to 90 hours a week since I went to Delhi. Yeah, it's really consumed my life, which hasn't left.
7. You're working 12-hour shifts, maybe more.
Well, I mean, you only did that by 7.
Right.
I work 5 days a week. Sometimes I go in for a 6th, but yeah,
God.
Yeah, it's been exhausting.
Feels bad.
Hasn't left much time for gaming and other things, but I made time to make sure through the podcast. Yeah, I missed some time from work today because I had some teeth issues. But all in all, healthy for the most part.
You're still above ground.
Things are going good, and we got video games to talk about, so.
Wunderbar.
But the video game stuff we gotta talk about, not all of it's good. So as this is episode 4 of the podcast, and in the last 2, we have talked about physical versus digital gaming, and now we have more to talk about in that realm, because GTA 6 gets announced with their prices of $79.99 for the basic version, and $99.99 for the Ultimate Edition, and it will not have a physical disc. The box comes with a digital download code. And we can lump that in with what Sony has said starting in January of 2028. It is ceasing the production of physical discs and only going digital. So I throw it to you, whichever point you want to start at. If you want to lump them all in together, break them up.
Yeah, might as well break them up. So, I am not surprised at all at the pricing, first of all, of GTA 6. Like, besides the fact that Nintendo basically became the vanguard for standardizing pricing of some AAA titles if they felt it demanded it, that's, like, for a game that's supposedly had a budget of $2 billion, that's, perfectly fine, especially if you're going to be able to invest hundreds and hundreds of hours into it. The price, performance, playability ratio, whatever you want to refer to it as, it seems perfectly reasonable. And then the Ultimate Edition, I believe, from what I understand, if you get that, you get a car, you get access to another clothing shop, and then maybe some other amenities I can't think of. So that's pretty.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think of that?
I mean, this digital versus physical thing has, we started talking about it a couple months ago, not realizing it was gonna turn into, this. GTA doesn't surprise me because it is going to be very quickly become, if not the top one, definitely within the top 5 of, quickest, most sold copies in the first month of release.
Yep, no doubt.
So,
I think they already recouped on their budget on pre-orders alone already, from what I heard.
That's disgusting.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Well, actually, let's do the breakdown real quick. So let's take 80.
You gotta divide 2 billion by 80.
Yeah, actually, that's the best way to put it. How many zeros? Okay, I got that.
9.
Divided by 80. Yeah. Okay. So that means at least 2 million. Wait.
No, that's
no.
not
Wait.
enough.
Sorry. Hang on. Shut up. Don't do anything.
Live from New York.
I know, right?
It's Saturday Night Live.
That means 25 million pre-orders
of just the basic. That's not
of just the
including.
basic. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, is it something that you're gonna pick up?
Eventually. I'm not as big into GTA because I played the single player of GTA 5
Me too.
Like I eventually went through it. I played the multiplayer with my friends for like months on end before I even touched the single player. It's perfectly fun, but I maybe out of a pure curiosity standpoint, the fact that the game is running at 30 FPS on the PS5 and Series X means it's going to be a demanding title to begin with. But the answer is maybe. What about you?
GTA 5, same thing. I played it within the first couple of months of release. I beat the story, never played a single minute of online. Same thing with Red Dead Redemption 2. It just wasn't. That was a game that I put like 100 hours into but never beat. But I just never found the need or the fun to play online. It just didn't like consume me. I had other things going on at the time that seemed more pressing for my time than that.
It was the inverse for me for Red Dead Redemption. Because, GTA 5, I just played a shit ton of online mostly. But, I absolutely plowed through the single player of Red Dead. And then the online I couldn't care for some reason. Because, like, the component of finding other players felt like a chore.
Yeah.
Because of the just very occasionally barren expanse of the game otherwise. So, I don't know. It didn't mesh in my book.
Yeah, I'm not much of like a sandbox type of player. Like, I need kind of like goals and achievements and stuff to strive for.
Sure.
Same reason why like any type of sandbox game, Minecraft, whatever you want to look at and say like, why can't I get into it? I'm not into those like strategy survival games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just can't get into them. Like Rust and all them. I just suck at it because I don't have the imagination to envision something and then do it. That's just not.
You gotta have the mindset for it, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, but when it comes to, I think it's weird that they decided to go with the option of sending out a game case, but then giving a digital code without really. That was said at when the pre-releases were releasing, or did that news come out after the pre-order started?
I couldn't tell you. I haven't read up on it too much.
I think it was like slightly before, or while people were reading the pre-release things, it was saying that. Yeah, but then let's tie that in now with Sony just totally abandoning. So, do you think Xbox is? I don't recall seeing Asha Sharma say anything in that realm.
Right.
I don't think so. I don't think Nintendo goes that route anytime soon.
I think, well, if anything, yes, I believe Microsoft will follow suit sooner than Nintendo. It's just the question is when, because it's at this point now they're kind of reading the terrain and like gauging the feedback and the outcry from the player base. Because supposedly the metrics that Sony pulled up was only 20% of players really make up anybody who has any kind of physical game media, whether it's one game or not. So that was their cost benefit analysis, I suppose. And then given that Microsoft is a platform that's more gauged into PC, where it's even less physical aspect of it,
right?
It'd be even less surprising for them to not copy that template. Nintendo
Do you think Sony recants on it if they get enough negative feedback?
No, because the outcry is still in significant minority. It's only because they're so loud about it, but
yeah,
that's really it. It's funny that like we've had bad news effectively from all three major pillars in the last 2 years. Nintendo's raising the stakes for pricing. Microsoft is Game Pass prices were absurd, and then now Sony is, saying
abolishing physical media
in 2028.
So, do you think this instills the collector to start trying to gather more physical media?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there actually has been reports maybe within the last year, maybe less, of just physical media making a comeback. We actually discussed this in the last podcast. I'm pretty sure.
The last time I went to Target, I kind of looked at what the prices were.
Right.
I mean, like, they still had, like, 3-year-old, 4-year-old games that were at $50. And I was like,
it's nuts.
I mean, our July game is still $50 on Xbox. Yeah.
I was at a thrift store earlier today, and I was just seeing a lot of VHS, and I'm like, somehow it's a lot more enticing now. Now that I have actual VCRs built into my two TVs now. So that it really says something that because of the we feel the weight bearing down on us of the between inflation and the very needy affectated company greed, and it just takes hold of us, and we're like, all right, well, plan B, just scrounge up everything we can.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And what else was there to discuss?
I
we got
wanted
to the
to
meat of it.
discuss something that tied into our question of the month, or last month's question of the month. So, Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced sold 2 million copies in the first day.
Nice.
So, is that something that you're looking to scoop up? Because I'm like really on the edge with it, because that is my favorite Assassin's Creed.
I imagine it's a lot of people's favorite Assassin's Creed because whenever the talking point comes up between friends online or just hearing it out and about, that's always the one that's mentioned the most because it was a very, very pleasing balance of, the stealth and then the overworld and then the seafaring travel and then battling.
Yep.
It was like Wind Waker on steroids.
Yep.
But yeah, I missed out on it back on the day for whatever reason. I guess there were other games at the time that were just pulling me in. But I'm gonna get it eventually. There's nothing imperative right now, especially because of the investments of time I have in other games we're playing. But I have heard some negative reviews of the game on Steam, for example, or were saying how much, what's the word? I guess I'll just say advertising there is, between like in-game microtransactions or having adverts for their other Assassin's Creed titles, and it's really like diminishing some of the experience for people. But
Wow.
I'll be the judge of that.
I wonder how demanding of a game it is, because when you talk about certain games, whenever you have, like, water physics are just very demanding on hardware in general. And a game like that is so prevalent and focused on having, a lot of aquatic life, treasures and stuff down there. When you're in the water, you can get attacked by sharks and all that stuff, so, and as far as, what is that, like, scale of view? Is immense. Like it is crazy, the distance.
Yeah, I'm curious what optimizations they will make for performance reasons. But then again, either of us can just type in our rig specifications in YouTube along the game, and then we'll get a good idea of that. But
yeah,
see how that goes.
Sure. So I totally know how.
What
to
do
do
I
that.
have again?
Listen, that box is still in my living room, okay? I haven't put my other PC up for sale yet. And I'll send you a video of... The boxes are set up exactly how... No, you weren't here. I brought my old cardboard box that had my old PC and foam from the first NZXT build I got. So I brought that home to put my recent PC in. So I could sell that and then keep the new box for this one. And... my cat climbed in it with the foam. It was open like this much.
Nice.
And he climbed in, and yeah, he just having a blast. But so with Assassin's Creed being a remake, remaster, however it wants to be classified, brings into our last month's question of the month, which was, if you could revive any video game series, what would it be?
What's your answer first?
NFL Street.
Really?
Yeah, I miss... Everything has gotten too realistic as far as like simulation sports, so I miss kind of, I do love my Maddens and my NBA 2Ks and my MLB The Shows to get the real immersive feeling of the sport, but I do miss my arcadey.
You want the very
Like
charming exaggerations.
Yeah, just the fun overload. That's what I miss. That's what NFL Street was. I still have memories of playing NFL Street 2 on my PS2 for hours and hours and hours, just, playing versus the computer. No online play, just me versus the computer. And if you could do that for hours, then you have a solid basis of a game. And if not that, I would love to see Resistance make a comeback.
Ooh, yeah, you mentioned that a long time ago.
Yeah, that's like top 5 maybe video game series for me.
Nice. Well, for me it was Mirror's Edge.
Okay.
Yeah, I love because that game has such a it's so polarizing in the visual presentation of the game versus like what the implications are, where you're in this like very white, sterile, pristine, neo-dystopian future where you're just like these, what they call runners, which are just like message carriers and whatnot on rooftops, and then just they're having their souls crushed on it.
Extremely fast-paced and...
Yeah, like parkour, all those spiels. The original had its charm. The remake, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, had a lot of good steps, but then it had a lot of missteps, and was held back, unfortunately, by the hardware at the time. If it was built on today's, if it was built with like consoles of today with their solid state drives, so you have like streaming assets on the fly. Like, what's a good example? Like Spider-Man, 2018 Spider-Man, or like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, where no loading screens, no anything in between, then you'd have a much more seamless experience. But there were some hiccups. The story I could not care for, but it had such a immeasurably charming aesthetic to it. I love the character designs. There was so many times I would just stop in that world and just like do panoramas and just take it all in. Have them as my desktop wallpapers. Yeah, they could have done more with it. Just DICE they didn't handle it as well as they could.
So that was a one and done, right? And then the remake, essentially? Or did they come out with a second one?
So 2008, the first Mirror's Edge, and then 2016 was Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which was sort of a remake. It was supposed to be a more fleshed out retelling of the story, and then haven't heard a peep since.
Portal would be another series to have, like, come back. Because it's been how long since Portal 2?
2011.
So I thought, yeah.
15
years.
Yep. Nuts. Yeah, I would love to. I mean, it's hard to... Because that story was phenomenal all the way through. The character arc of Gladys and Cave Johnson and everything else. But I don't know how Valve would top that, honestly.
Yeah.
Sometimes less is more, just like leave it on the high note.
Fair enough.
Move on to a different intellectual property.
Alright, so you ready to jump into our Resident Evil 2 remake discussion?
Let's get into the meat of it.
Alright, folks, this is episode 4 of our Locked In Retro Gaming, Retro Plays podcast, where we talk Resident Evil 2 remake. So Dan, what you got?
Man, where do I start? Well, here's the thing. So as someone who never played the original...
Same.
I didn't know what to expect. My exposure to Resident Evil 2 originally was just from watching a walkthrough of it, maybe like 15 years earlier, something like that. But I've always been enamored by Resident Evil. Before I even played that remake, it was still one of my favorite franchises of all time, between the Resident Evil remake on GameCube and Resident Evil 0 on GameCube, and then Resident Evil 4. But it is the perfect... It is one of the most enticing, like, blends of horror gradually evolving into, like, a more action-oriented game at the end. But that's not saying much. But it's a very tight design between, like, planning out your routes, your management of health and ammo. Very stark, horror-based atmosphere. The presentation was phenomenal. Solid game all around. I've beaten it over a dozen times with both characters. I could go back into it right now and just have a blast. What about you? What's your first?
So I want to start off with, it is a very, very, very challenging game.
Okay.
And I hate horror games. I just want to lead with that. I hate horror games. I never want to play them again.
What?
There's no but. Mary was watching me play because it was crunch time, and originally it was free on Amazon Games or whatever.
Really?
It was on Luna until June 16th. So I had got, 75s after beating it, 75% of the way through the story. And then I got tied up with work, didn't get to beat it, had to start over on Xbox. So every time. So this is all spoiler cast. This episode, just run through it, say what you gotta say.
Spoiler cast.
Yeah, this is not like Pragmata where we had to kind of like leave stuff out because it was fresh. This is just every time that fucking guy would burst through a wall and chase me and you just heard his footsteps.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my heart just and it would be nothing like I shot his hat off. That did nothing.
Yeah, right.
And then you would like, all right, I'm gonna back it up a little bit.
Go on.
So I liked the fact that there was two different stories, quote unquote. You had Leon, and then you had Claire. Mm-hmm. Very similar stories, but very different in the same time, where they're from different perspectives. Mm-hmm. So it follows a lot of the same story beats, but then their stories kind of branch out apart, and then kind of connect back, and then do the same thing. It kind of looks like I kind of attribute it to like a DNA sample. Like it starts together, and then goes out, comes back in, and like intertwines and everything, which I thought was very clever. It's a way to give you different avenues to play the game. It is a very rich and deep story. You get as much of that story as you want. You could read all the pamphlets, and you know they have those in a lot of games where you read the little notes, the little emails left around, and it kind of gives you a little bit more of the backstory in the game. These were so enriching in the depth of the story that you got out of it as much as you wanted to. If you wanted to dive in deep to what was, you know, what happened in Raccoon City and where did this all start from, and what was the G virus and what was it made for, and you wanted to know all the nitty gritty, you read all these things, and then, you know, they would start by telling you the story, and then it would be like, oh, by the way, you know, there's a locker in, you know, the 3rd floor bathroom where the code is this. So it's like, you could read that, or you could just jump to, you know, the puzzles, which there was a lot of them. And I thought they were very cleverly done. Some made you think. Some were just simply done. There were still weapons I didn't get because I didn't unlock that part. And the hardest thing about this game was resource management. And my first playthrough, I played through as Leon, and so I got to the last boss fight, and I had to play on assisted mode because I didn't have enough ammo.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So, were you playing on your playthrough? Were you playing on normal or hardcore?
Hardcore.
Oh, you were. All right. Props to you, man. Nice.
I hated every second of it.
Especially the fact that you have limited saves, classic Resident Evil.
Limited ammo. The fucker's chasing you the whole time.
Yeah.
So I ran out of ammo so frequently, and then you would get a boss fight, and it would give you 15 pistol shots, and then it would give you 6 magnum shots, but I couldn't find the revolver. I missed that. I couldn't figure out what to do with the computer, so I couldn't get into that room to get that.
Damn. In hindsight, I should have given you some advice before you even started off.
Because I would go through, and it was the thing that was frustrating in regards to it was, I get it. They're the undead. They're zombies. I get it. But there was nothing that would explain why some of them would stay dead and others wouldn't.
Sure.
So you would go through, and I would go into a room, and I would kill, in air quotes, the 2 zombies that were in the room.
Yeah.
You know, I'd go in and out of that room 3 times, and all of a sudden, the 4th time, one of them stands up. And it's like, okay, why one, not both? So then it becomes like, alright, I'm planning my routes, but then I'm thinking they're going to stay dead. They don't. So then I was burning more ammo, because every single time I played in the hardcore mode with Leon, I was putting them down. It wasn't just like I was doing with Claire, because she didn't have, her weapons weren't as damage inducing as Leon's. She had a grenade launcher. Like, that's not like, you know, you're getting them in you're either shooting it at a spitter, or you get a couple zombies in one spot, you blow them up, and then they're burned and they don't come back. Yeah,
Leon's shotgun especially, because it can blow up the head, it was much more efficient as dealing with zombies.
Yeah, but then with Claire, I started to would shoot the zombies in the head once, they'd either fall over, or I'd shoot them in the leg, they'd fall to the ground, and I'd run past them. So I started to do that just as more conservation of ammo with Claire. But Leon, it was either the last boss fight or right before the last boss fight, I had to go to assisted mode because I was out of ammo.
Womp womp.
Yeah, sorry, it was the very, 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 very end when you're on the elevator going down. And Mr. X has the infected arm, and you're on that thing.
That fight is so claustrophobic.
I had 22 shots.
Sure.
And it wasn't even like, okay, I just have to dodge him a bunch of times. It wasn't. At least I don't think it was time based. I feel like it was damage based to get the cutscene where
what's her face? Ada throws you the rocket launcher.
The rocket launcher. Yeah. One thing I didn't do until, honestly, that part where I only had a couple shots was use grenades. Like, I would only use grenades if I went to go get bit. But yeah, boss fights were fun but challenging. The whole game was challenging. It really was. I hated that guy chasing me the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It is nerve-inducing at all times.
Yeah, I get that.
I was very surprised at how short the story was.
Yeah, it's like my first playthrough was only 8 hours. Short game.
Yeah, so I beat Leon's in 5 hours and 48 minutes.
Oh, gotcha. Because I like walked through the whole thing, so that might explain it.
Yeah, I don't know if this counts my time of like plotting routes where I would literally stare at the map and be like, okay.
Yeah, the map. Well, actually, when you have the map open, the clock is still going, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then that's really surprising because I would, especially towards like the latter part of the game where I was really like running out of ammo. When you're in the police station, which first of all, a very iconic location.
Right.
It's probably like, you know, up there as one of the more iconic locations in video games. You know, they give you a good amount of ammo, but I would still plot my routes. And I was doing a lot of the, you know, I'm on the 3rd floor. I found something to go that needs to be downstairs in the west office on the 1st floor. All right, and now I know how to get that. So I would stop what I was doing and go down and get that. And sometimes it would be something as dumb as whatever, shotgun ammo and first aid spray. And I'd be like, really? I came all the way down here for this? Or, you know, other times it was a holster, which was huge. So the puzzles, like I said before, very fun. I thought each of them were creative enough, and some of them were just, you know, combination written on the side of a safe. It's, you know, self-explanatory.
Yeah, I like that they weren't. None of them were so egregiously complex or really having you like run from one place to another so much. And
do you remember how to get the submachine gun? How to get into that PC?
Yes.
How?
So, do you remember? Oh, right. So, do you remember? Hang on. I'm trying to remember where you get the. Do you remember the item you get that's a badge?
Yeah.
So you turn it around, and you flick it up, and it's a USB stick, and then you put that in. It's kind of that's sort of the because the game teaches you early on to inspect every item as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that's how you're supposed to figure it out.
Copy that.
Yeah. That would have helped a lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Devin.
It would have been really nice when I, you know, look at my inventory and see 195 submachine ammo
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah. But I was going to say the two major bits of advice I should have given you to begin with was stagger your save files, at least two, just in case you feel like you screwed something up, were not efficient enough, then go to a previous save. And then conserve your ammo, because the game is survival first, not action. So what I mean by that is, it is the most optional thing to fight enemies for the most part. So the second you stun a zombie, for example, with a bullet shot, especially to the head, just dart past him. Because it's not always a guarantee that you'll run into him again. Or if you have to go through whatever hallway or whatever again, they might be looking a different way. So it's like, you'd be surprised how much you'd save down the road. But I understand. Also, you know, hardcore is punishing to begin with. So
Not the first playthrough I would advise anybody here to do. Start with normal, then do your second playthrough on hardcore.
what I would say is if you're not familiar with horror games in general, especially Resident Evil, then yes, the normal difficulty would be suitable and not egregiously frustrating.
I didn't do any of the post-game stuff.
As in, like a Tofu Survivor and the Last Survivor, all those nonsenses.
And then you had the...
Yeah. That's all non-canonical anyway, so I could care
what
less
is
about
that? What is that called?
So there's one where you play
Like when you get you beat the game and you can play it a second time.
the second
Why am I
run.
blanking? Yeah, but like it's called something.
Well, it's
New
called
Game Plus. Wow.
Oh, sure.
Whew.
Right.
Yeah, so I didn't do that. I didn't know if I could have done that and played Claire as the second one. I didn't know how that would work. Or if I did, because I beat Leon's first, and if I went to do a New Game Plus, would I only have been able to do it with Leon, or could I have done it with Claire? But either way, I, did the Claire version. I didn't like playing as a little kid.
Yeah, I get that.
I thought that could have been avoided. I get it. It's just more horror. What's more horror than being a little kid with no weapons, just running? I failed at that part like 6 times when you're in the closed space and you have to wait for him to go into the bathroom to wash his face, I kept triggering the you got caught cutscene.
Yeah, it was. It seemed almost arbitrary.
Different.
Sorry, it seemed almost arbitrary how like knowing the steps. It was like a bit of trial and error to like know the steps of like when to run back or go around the little play shapes, stuff like that. So yeah, once you get over that hurdle, it's like
yeah. Well, the crazy part was I did the same thing. I get it. That's definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Mm-hmm. But then I did the same thing, same exact thing I did on the first 2 chances, and it worked. So I don't know if it was just, a Bob Ross, a happy little accident, or, if that's what I was supposed to do in the other 2 times I was like a frame too close to him or something and he bumped into me. I don't know, but...
Yeah, maybe.
But, just all in all, outstanding game. It is a game that encompasses or encourages multiple playthroughs, which I like. Mm-hmm. And whilst doing so, it is short enough to where you could do it in 2 sittings. Some people even do it in 1 sitting.
Yeah, pretty much.
I had a day off and Mary and I just sat in the living room and she watched me play it for, I think, like 5 hours. I got so close to the end.
Damn.
I kept dying and I was like, all right, I'm going to step away for a little bit. We ate dinner and then I went back to play it, and then that's when I jumped to assisted mode because I just had no ammo. Yeah, I didn't really think of creating multiple saves. That's never something I've ever really done until I've, how some games you'll get to the end, it'll be like, all right, are you sure you want to go past this checkpoint? Because if you do, you will not be able to return. Like, this is the end game. So that's how I'll create different save files so that I can continue on one, and then I could also reload the other one and just go back and do all the other stuff.
Right.
But other than that, I typically don't create multiple save files, and maybe I should.
It depends on the game, of course. If there is the possibility for so much variation depending on your performance, then those are games that would call for it. You pulled through.
I did.
My boy.
It is a game that I was excited to play, and I've also watched you play it back when you were streaming, and you played... I don't know if it was built into the game or if you had played mods where it was like low ammo runs, or if those were just like self-induced challenges.
No, I didn't really mod the game. It was stock. I did do a few Steam achievements, like never opening the inventory box, for example, never healing, stuff like that, never saving. So that was fun. Yeah,
that's insane.
But the one I never really care for is like the speedrunning aspect of it. Because every time I play it, I just like I sink my teeth into it and just take my time. But like you can speedrun that game in like 50 minutes, something like that. It's insane.
What is the quickest time? Let's see.
Yeah, let's find out.
Speed runs any %.
Yeah.
The fastest is 52 minutes 36 seconds.
That sounds about right.
And to 100% it, it's 2 hours 15 minutes 30 seconds. It's the fastest.
I feel like that's less popular.
So to do the main story, the median is 8 hours and 32 minutes. The average is 9 hours 36 minutes.
Really?
Rushed is 5 hours and 21 minutes. I wonder if that only counts as just one of their stories, if not both.
Couldn't tell you. Very interesting.
So that's all I have as far as notes. Is there any... Do you feel like... Bless you. The multiple locations change things for you, or would you have rather it all just take place in the police station?
No. It's... So, first of all, no, I'm glad that it eventually broke out of that, especially for the story beats. But, it was doing what it needed to stay faithful to the original PlayStation game. But, it's, from the police station to the sewers to the orphanage, then finally to the lab, you're getting down to what the hell's happening. And then you feel the stakes get higher as you progress through the environments, because it becomes more... Like when you get to the lab, for example, it's this more eerie, sterile, sort of homogenized environment of just things gone awry, and it's so eerily quiet and everything in between. But then, like, this is where it all started. This is the crescendo of the game. But it is just a little bit, it swayed just a little bit away from the very tight focused planning that the police station had. But it was still there in some measure. But I was thoroughly satisfied with how it progressed all the ways.
Yeah, I agree. I think like you said, the progression was good. It wasn't like you were rushed in any way. It kind of felt like 3 phases of a game. It kind of felt like first phase is the police station, second phase is the sewers, followed by the third phase being the lab. Each location provided its own necessity to the story and kind of played differently a little bit. Like you said, there's ways that you can like not ever get hurt or never get touched or whatever. Yeah?
Of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how, because in the sewer, every time I'd walk through the sewer, those things would grab me out of the water.
Yeah. Well, for those, you have to... There's a few options. You have to make sure you have preferably a grenade.
Well, I had grenades and knives at all times.
Yeah, grenades or flash grenades. They're the most efficient because the knife, you just waste the whole thing on it.
Oh, no, I killed those sons of bitches.
Yeah, but those I just stab and run because they eat up your ammo. Unless you have like the flamethrower as Claire. Otherwise, Leon doesn't handle it as well.
Leon has the flamethrower.
Right. Claire has the spark gun.
Yeah, grenade launcher.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the puzzles were fun in all 3 locations. Fireworks, huh?
My neighborhood blows shit up, man. Every time. Doesn't matter what not holiday it is.
Yeah, my neighbors do that. My neighbors fire off fireworks all the time.
Yeah.
Especially they're moving, so this year was like their big coup de grace. So they just thousands of dollars worth of fireworks. The cat that's been on the couch just relaxing this whole time, like a good boy, was under the kitchen table.
I get that.
Terrified.
You're like, sensory overload. Yep, I get that. I get that.
Did you have a preference on playing Leon's story to Claire's story, or? Alright, Kermit.
What?
You just sounded like Kermit the Frog. I don't know why.
Well, I prefer Leon. I don't know actually. They both have their strengths because I did love the variation of the weapons. But if I had to choose, it would be Leon's because the shotgun in that game is very satisfying.
Yeah.
Especially when you have it fully upgraded with the
stock. And...
yeah, the stock and then like the extra tube magazine finish. Yeah. I think it's because partly because Leon has been a recurring character in the Resident Evil franchise, more so than Claire. But this is like his early beginning as the naive cop who's like, well, how could the government, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, he thinks that he has no abstraction of how things can get so corrupt so quickly. And then Ada has to just dumb it down for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fantastic.
And what'd you think of, I know we said that it is like a encapsulating and deep story, but what did you think of the story in all?
So the thing is, there's nothing terribly complex about the story, but that kind of lends itself to the game, where it's zombies. How? Oh, virus. Okay, where did it come from? Here it came from. Let's get out of here. Let's blow this shit up. So that's what it's boiled down to, but it's done very tastefully and, you know, with a better script than the original PlayStation version had, that's for sure. Which was, you know, by today's standards, pretty campy. But it was handled well, and the story beats were perfect in my eyes. No overbearing cutscenes. They're all entertaining to watch every single time. Solid. What do you think?
Same thing. I think it was, like I said before, I think it was a easy enough story to follow, while also lending itself to, if you want to get into the weeds with it, you can.
Yeah.
It's not an over-complex story.
Yeah.
You know, some of the interactions with Ada, or what's her name, Allison, the lady scientist.
Oh, Annette.
Annette, right. So, you know, their interactions sometimes felt a little weird, but then playing as Claire clears a lot of that up, because you have her daughter.
Right.
And then the father kills the cop. So it's just the two stories piece together.
Yeah.
Some of the questions very well.
Yeah, they diverge and come together, but then there's still things left in the air. It's like, how did Ada survive? Where did she go?
Yeah.
What happened?
Does she show up at all in any of the other Resident Evils? Do you know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Especially Resident Evil 4, which you should
There you
play.
have it.
Oh, man, that game is a treat. But both the original and the remake are.
I played Resident Evil 4 Remake way back when.
You played the remake?
Isn't that the one in like 20...
You said because I'm talking about the Resident Evil 4 remake.
Yeah, 2006, right? Or is that the original?
No, that's the original.
Yeah, so that's one I played.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, but yeah, it fleshes out a story more in that game.
Yep, and I like that you don't need each of their stories.
You don't need every single detail, but you get the idea. What was that?
I had to sneeze, so I muted my mic.
I thought you were gonna be like peak cinema. Anyway.
All right, so
Bring it back.
as far as rating it goes, Metacritic for PS4 it got a 91, Xbox One it got a 93, and PC it got an 89. The users gave it 87, 87, 89 in that order.
Gotcha. I wish you asked for ours first before you said those. I had those in my head, but I already had the number in my head.
What's your number?
90.
That's mine.
Yeah.
I wanted to go higher because there really is not a lot wrong with this game.
Yeah, it's
So
a very
I don't
tightly
want
focused
to.
game.
Yeah, I don't want to give it a 90, thinking like it was such an excellent game, but these things held it back. There wasn't any of that in my estimation. Like the things I didn't like about it were things specific to that playstyle, which is what you sign up for.
Yeah.
You know, like the managing your resources, and if you want to heal now, you want to wait, how many saves you get. Like that's just the difficulty of the game mixed in with what the game itself was trying to achieve, which I think it did a good job of.
Sure.
So I can't dock it for doing those things well, because that's what it set out to do. For me, I give it a 90, and like I said, I don't want it to punish it. I just don't think it had those extra highs that I was hoping for.
I get that.
Maybe a more flushed out story. Like I beat it in 5 hours and 50 minutes. It would have been nice if it was like what you played through, like 8 hours. Another extra couple hours of gameplay maybe would have added some more to it.
Sure, I got that.
But I honestly could go higher. I was really fighting with myself to get like 92, 93.
Mm-hmm.
But just seeing what other games in my head I rank and where I put that's why I feel like a 90 is just...
Yeah.
A 90 is where I feel it needs to be. And it is a game that in my head, as I have it as a 90, it's the lowest I could put it. I could sleep on it and in a couple days be like, you know what? I'm going to raise it a couple points. And it's not any lower than a 90 for me.
Sure. But mine's 90 for a bit of a different reason, because I was, even though I didn't play it, I was still fully aware of how the original PlayStation version played out. What made that a lot more enticing than the remake in some way was that they called it the Zap system, I believe, which is there was like a separate inventory box in each player's playthroughs, which you can store items in, especially if you think you had like a surplus of ammo or weapons, and then in your second run, the other player would have access to that, which is pretty cool. So that's another way of like, so not only is it a great design aspect in terms of gameplay, but it helps cement the idea that both of these characters' happenings are going on in parallel, with some intersectionality, obviously, so that you can sort of feed off the other player in terms of supply chain. The remake, however, the second run aspect was it's fun, it's fine, it's just so tacked on. The only different measure that they took was like putting weapons and key items in just different places arbitrarily. I guess their imagining was that like in the first playthrough when you've gone through it, that may or may not have been where the player would have discarded it so that the second person finds it. I'm like, okay, fine. But you still have the same exact cutscenes. The only difference is it's just a slightly shorter playtime than the first run. So that was a little bit of a letdown for me, but so be it. Like that's the only major thing like keeping this game at a 90 for me. If they managed to include the Zap system in the remake, that would have been
outstanding. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't touch on was the map itself.
Sure.
I thought it was very good map system.
Yeah.
I like that it kept track of the items where they were. It helped with solving puzzles, but I did a really good job of taking notice of what it was that I might need.
Mm-hmm.
So if I would go, let's say, into a room and it was like, I need to find 2 blank keys for this. One for the 2, one for the 3. Alright, I found the key. Okay, run back to this room, put it here. Okay, what's more beneficial? Alright, there's 200s on the left side, so putting the 2 first makes more sense.
Sure.
And then finding the other key, knowing where it went. Okay, I need to wait for a tool for this. So I felt really smart when I inspected the scepter to get the jewel out to put it in the jewelry case.
Yeah.
The game did a great job of making you feel really smart when you solved a puzzle, even if it was a simple one. You were like, man, I'm just a gamer.
The fact that it gives the items like such a second layer and like breath of life, where it's not just okay, take item A, put it in slot A. It forces you to really absorb what you're taking in, per se, and then just like having to digest what its real world application would be in the context of the game. So it's like, as I mentioned before, oh, the badge. Okay, what the hell is a badge going to do for me? It's a key. Things like that. So it's very clever.
Yeah, that was the one thing I missed. Now, of course, it's one of the biggest things, which sucks.
Yes, that's unfortunate.
Yep, unfortunate.
By the way, one other thing about the map, which was very, very, very helpful, was when you come upon a locked door and you actively go to try and open it, the camera cuts in or punches in on the doorknob, and then you see what symbol it is. And then on the map, it actually will show that. So it's like, don't have to keep that many notes. It's just there, thankfully. So it's very, very appreciative of that.
I will say, when the game started and you start off by getting the journal, I thought that's what the notes were going to be kept in, kind of like flipping through the pages of the journal,
sure.
like an Uncharted, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it just, you cycle through stuff.
Yeah, now that you mention that would have been really cool to like add that little bit of like,
especially because Leon was a detective or a cop.
Yeah,
a rookie cop, like, that is something that they do, is jot down notes. It's very important.
Yeah.
So, like, it would have just added to another element that he's a cop.
Right. It would give a bit more, like,
flavor.
Yeah, a bit more flavor, a bit more, like, of that improvisational, organic nature to the game. But it's, like, so properly, contextually applied to the game. But that's alright. I can live with that.
Alright, any other comments on it?
I think that sums it up, unless you've got anything else?
No. Just, I guess, did you like the ending? Would you have... yeah.
Because, well, the thing about the ending was, much like the original version on PlayStation, you had to play the second run to get the true ending, obviously, where you fight them on the train, and then they escape, and then walk off into the sunset, quite literally. So
I did not know that. I didn't do a second playthrough.
Oh, that's why. Because you might have had that thought where Claire and Leon reunite in the train. It's like, I know you make it. Yeah, and then credits roll, right? It's like, the hell was that? But yeah, that's one thing they did follow to the T of the original, where it's like you have to play. They force you to play as a second character within that second run save file to get the true ending, which is pretty epic. So I recommend you go back and do that.
I should have done that when I did
You should have done that, yeah.
I should have done the new game plus as Claire.
Yeah.
Because I beat both stories, I just did it as a new game.
Fair enough.
So that sucks. Okay.
Yeah, or just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
You'll get the idea.
I just have to watch the ending, because if that's the only thing that's different.
That is the only thing that's different. But, yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up.
Alright. I did have a question about... So, I have a question not about Resident Evil 2. Separate.
Go on.
I meant to ask it earlier. So, how do you tackle early access games? Do you typically not play early access game until it's fully released? Does it depend on the game, or...?
It's been... I think the only early access game I ever played was DayZ.
Okay.
And that was with you, I think. Or, no, that was PUBG. That was PUBG, I think.
Yeah.
But whatever. It was in the same ballpark of just surviving. Because I don't like the idea... It's like... Being a legitimate beta tester for a game, okay, I get that. But a game where your feedback is not even applied and you're just at the mercy of them fixing something that was gnawing away at your gameplay experience beforehand, and then it's like when you finally get tired of it, they're like, oh, they patched it. Okay, maybe I'll like limp back into the game experience, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I just... Since that was like over a decade ago, and since then I have never touched early access. I'm like, I see the banner early access on Steam. I'm like, nope. I'll wait 3 years if I have to.
It depends on what it is.
For you?
Honestly, for me. Yeah, because I've played a couple of early access games, but one that I hadn't played that just came out of early access with 1.0 was Pal World. So I was debating playing that. And just, dipping my toe in the water to see, because it has some of those things that I was talking about before, where it's like the crafting and, the survival aspect. But there's more of a gain for it, so I guess it would work to my benefit, where you're mining for resources that you then use to do missions and stuff like that. So
Okay.
I think I'll give it a try. Unfortunately, it is one of those games that is better with friends, so
Gotcha.
I need to utilize like Twitch and my Discord groups and Reddit and stuff like that to kind of find people to play with, because I just realized I really have nobody to play games with. All my friends are into different games.
Yeah. Do you mean they're into different games besides what you prefer to, or just they're separate
Or
ways
like
right now?
I may have one friend who's into, like, my cousin who I do play some games with is very into Arc Raiders still. He's died down a little bit, but I have another cousin really into Mecha Chameleon right now. I have another cousin that's still hooked on Escape from Tarkov. I have a friend who, my other cousin is riding the shit down with Destiny. So it's just like I don't have a group of friends that play the same game to where, I was dying for someone to play Marathon with. I don't know anyone that really, like, plays Marathon.
Gotcha.
So I have to be like, that's one thing I struggle with as far as gaming.
I get it. Well, so you have to keep in mind, I mean, you already know this, but I'll just say this for the sake of the audience as well. But there is, and we've broached this as well, but there's two things. There's such a fatigue for genres sometimes, especially when it comes to either multiplayer shooters or maybe more specifically battle royales. But then the fact that the market is so saturated in like the last 15 years especially, it's like the options have just exploded and people become so non-committal because they're looking for a very particular nuance of dopamine fix, and then they have to go on to the next thing.
Yeah, then you have games like Fortnite that have different games built into it.
Yeah.
It has the Lego, it has the racing, it has the music, it has...
Fortnite is the Amazon of games.
But like we say that, but it's an adult's Roblox. If you think about it, not to that extent, but almost. Like, people create levels and different types of games, and it was almost like that game that I think was a PlayStation exclusive, but Dreams. Do you remember it?
Nights into Dreams?
No, just Dreams.
Dreams. Don't know.
It was like a creative art.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That gave players the opportunity to basically make their own game or experience.
Sort of,
yeah, so.
Gotcha.
Just
unlocked something.
Yeah, so you had stuff like that, but I don't know, man. It's between that and I have a hard time making friends in gaming. I don't know what it is. But it's just ingrained in my brain. I have no problem talking to people about gaming in real life, but when you put me like on a Discord group or in someone's chat on Twitch, it almost feels like you're fishing, and I hate that feeling, even though it's not. Like, it almost feels like you're in someone's chat, you're asking, to play with them or whatever, and it's just like, oh, you stream too? You must, even though you're not, it's just that little nugget of possibility that you're trying to...
You know what I recommend, actually? Do you know meetup.com?
No.
Okay. So it's a website.
I'm in a relationship now. I don't...
No. It's actually not what it sounds like. I just realized that since you said that. But it's a website in which, whether it's in person, which is the bulk of the website, or online, you get together to do different activities. And then you'll post them. You can search filters based on your area, or if you want to do just online things, game night, yada yada. And then you can try and find something relative to your interests, and you go at it. And it's a good way to try and socialize.
Huh? Good to know.
Meetup.com.
I will write that down.
Yes, sir.
All right, chat. So now that'll roll into our... Are you interested in Pal World, or no, it doesn't tickle your fancy?
No, not really. I I'll take another look at it now, but it was probably one of those at the time I thought early access meh. But I think
I only didn't play it because of the lawsuit with Nintendo, and I was like, I don't know what's going to happen with this game, so I don't want to sink 30 hours into it, get really invested, and then not be able to play it anymore. But all right, so
I get that.
July's game, folks. If this is your first time listening, this month is we're 11 days in, but it is a bulky game. It's Final Fantasy X, which is $29.99 on Steam right now, $24.99 on PlayStation, and $49.99 on Xbox, and those are all U.S. dollars, U.S. currency.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan's decision for our game for August. You want to tell him, Dan?
Ghosts of Tsushima.
Which I'm very excited for because I haven't played yet. It is a game I've always wanted to play, and a game that celebrates a culture and is very attuned to that culture and its religious practices and whatnot.
Sure.
So I look forward to talking about that. So if anyone is interested in Ghost of Tsushima over Final Fantasy X, or you've played Final Fantasy X already, Ghost of Tsushima is a longer title, if I'm not mistaken. So if it is a game that you need a little bit more time, you don't get that much time to gaming and want to early jump on it, that's why we are now 2 months at a time. So this way, it gives you guys more time to play. It gives us time to plan out our schedules. So that is July and August. You guys can send us game recommendations for September or months going forward. You can follow me on twitter.com. You can go to two different pages, LI_PhenonTTV or at Locked In Pods, which is all about our podcast. The Phenon one is my page specifically. You can email us at lockedinpodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can also answer this month's question of the month with that, which is, what is your favorite weapon in video games? So that is a question we will answer next time. But please, use our email, use my Twitter, message us with comments about Final Fantasy X, what you loved, what you hated, what you would rate it, how great the soundtrack is, things you would change, and also what your favorite weapon in video games is. Maybe it's from Final Fantasy X. But that does it for us today. I am Devin. That is Dan. That is my cat stretching in the background. And episode 4 in the books. We will catch you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.